Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious pop, if that people knew their glorious pop, if that people knew their glorious pop, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter. Make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage. We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Yeah. What's going on? What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's good?
We here. Manifestations 2020. We in the building.
Yes,
all right. Talk to me, man. Talk to me. Yo.
What's
I had to go in tonight, bro. You know I had to go in. There's a lot of people out here perpetrating to be something that they not. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people out here, you got a lot of people funny style. They pretending to be this, but they really that. They pretending to be that, but they really this. And we gonna go in on them tonight, bro.
Are you saying that you are sick of the cap on these here apps?
I'm sick of the cap on these here apps.
Could that be what you were trying to say, young black man?
I'm sick of the cap on these here apps. That's what I'm saying, bro. Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, we got a serious issue out here, and not so much the people who are portraying this image of some fake shit that they totally just are not. That's a problem. But the larger problem, y'all know I always like to speak to the larger problem, and that's really what the real pariah is. The larger problem is the public at large consuming these people's fake ass relationships to be something real. What is wrong? What is wrong with y'all out there, man? Like, really, bro? I mean, some of the people we gonna talk about today, to me, their relationship is the quote unquote romantic equivalent of an industry plant. You dig? And you can see right through it if you being real.
Yeah.
You understand? But like, people really be posting these people up on their web pages talking about couples goals, relationship goals, and you got a goddamn picture of Cardi B and Offset. Nigga, kill yourself. Look. Really? This what we doing? You got a picture of Halle Bailey and DDG. How's that working out for you?
I had the illusion of all that broken back in high school. Once I saw how Khalees did Nas. Once I saw that, I'm like, you know what? Ain't nothing real no more. Everything is a lie. I don't believe anything.
Facts. And
I stopped putting my trust in them then. Like, oh man, if that ain't what it is, then everything else a lie.
This is the thing. What a lot of people don't understand. A lot of these relationships, these so-called relationships, they're really legitimately not even real. You take what a lot of times these people will do in the industry, some of these Hollywood types, these managers, you know, these handlers, the publicists, these type of people, they'll take two people that have common interests or somewhat common interests, and they'll say, hey, why don't you date this person, right? And, you know, it'll be a situation like some people who may have had a problem with black women, like, say, maybe Jonathan Majors. I don't know, but maybe, you know what I'm saying? And have him all of a sudden date a black woman, you dig? To fix his black woman problem. Now, I'm not saying that what him and Megan have ain't real, but the thing that a lot of Hollywood types would do is they see a situation like that and they see opportunity. Okay, well, this actress, she really ain't hot like that right now. And this guy has a problem with black women ain't really feeling him right now. Let's put these two together and kill two birds with one stone and make a lot of money while we solve these two problems. It literally goes like that, y'all. You dig? So I want people to understand this before you go posting up these people, you know, with some of their contrived relationships that are just a goddamn media construct, talking about some damn relationship goals and putting yourself in their image and trying to chase what they have, because a lot of time they don't even have it. What y'all got to say before we get into it? We got a long show today. Make it real quick. Talk to me. What's up? Y'all got anything?
I just want to say that a lot of times it's trauma bonding. It could be real genuine relationships based on trauma bond. I think when it comes to Megan and Jonathan's situation, you have two that failed out of their previous relationships, and they end up seeing the opportunity for themselves. One woman felt like the heavenly way, because she was dating a pastor, wasn't for her. So, and I've talked about this savior syndrome that a lot of women have. And I think that she saw him being vulnerable by this white woman at this time, being attacked and everything like that. And then him being in the media, being that they're in the same profession, she had empathy on one end and then wanted to be the super saving lady on the other end, trying to everybody that she has worth and she is genuine. And she couldn't fulfill that side of that image under the umbrella of this guy who already had a following, a heavy presence in the world like that. Plus, he has a heavenly following. So she would get lost in that. So being with Jonathan Majors, now she actually is the focal point in that relationship, not Jonathan. She's the one that's looked upon and gravitated by a lot of women as, oh, look at her, she's so strong. She's uplifting this brother and building him back because he's so broken from the white woman. And this guy here called a white woman Coretta Scott, and he got burnt for that in the media. So him being linked up with her is a part of his trauma bonding, trying to get with her to say, hey, I like black women, even though I might be forced into this situation because I've been bonded through the trauma of my situation, and that's how we linked up. But I don't want to feel like, oh, if this go wrong, then everybody's gonna be like, oh, that's because you don't like black women. So now I'm forced to be in this situation and take it to another level, even out of my control. So I just wanted to say that part and land my plane on that.
Well said. And for the record, I wasn't saying that was necessarily a plant type of deal.
No,
but
no,
I
no,
get
no.
what you're saying. I'm just letting everybody else know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But it could be based on the factors that exist there. Bobby, real quick, what you got?
You know, the funny thing is, if we're looking at and paying attention to the right types of media out there, the right books, the right TV shows and movies and music, we'll actually see and understand these concepts of these things. I go to, when it comes to these sorts of plants or these sort of artificial relationships that get pieced together, or these ones that are full of dysfunction and chaos, but they're put out there for attention, I like referring, using as a frame of reference, House of Cards. Now, mind you, I knew about this, I understood this long before this. This show didn't teach me anything new in that regard, but it was great watching someone put on TV an illustration of what this looks like. And if you watch that show with what's his face, Kevin, forgot his name. I wish they would have let the show go on because there's so many gems, but he was definitely a pedo god. I'm glad they took him down. But they showed you exactly how these relationships look like when they piece together, when you have marriage relationships that aren't a result of love, aren't a result of interest, that aren't even necessarily a result of sexual lust and desire, but it's about, hey, I'm trying to get to a goal or achieve an end.
Yeah.
I need a significant other to help me get there. We don't have to love each other, or maybe we might be interested in sex or do other weird things together, but really, the foundation of us coming together is I have something to achieve. I need someone to help me achieve it. Is you down or what? And the other person says, you know what? I don't have to care about you either, but I'm fine with that. I also have my own end to achieve that call for a significant other. This works for me, or that's fine. I'll sign to be part of this, but will I get the benefits of being with you? So if you're going to be a politician, if you're going for the presidency, the governorship, a senatorship, will I get to be riding in the limousines? Will I get to be going to meet all the high-profile people? Will I get to this? Fine, fantastic, whatever. There's actually a great skit going back and forth that they, well, it's not a skit. It's a clip from one of those old school TV shows. I think it was Cheers, where you had this corporate executive going to the bar, and he basically starts talking with this woman, and they're going back and forth like a bartering type thing, where he's like, I'm looking for a significant other. Well, I'm looking for a man. They start going back and forth, making an arrangement. And I got to share it with y'all. It's funny. But to be honest, I love it because it's so real and raw, and you see them negotiating back and forth on what they want in a relationship, what the hard line is in the sand. One person like, well, I'm not willing to budge on this. She said, well, I'm not willing to budge on this either. Oh, it's a shame. Too well. Better luck next time. But I'm like, if people could just be that straight up, it would save a lot of time. You don't have forever. I don't have forever. Let's cut to it. This is what I'm looking for. This is what you're looking for. This is what I got. This is what you got. Can you put it together? Can this work? No. Okay, well, no hard feelings. Bam.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the skit? It was a skit, right?
It's a great skit.
It's an actual clip from a show. I think it was Cheers from like.
Yeah, it was Cheers.
I gotta look it up and find it. I'm gonna send y'all. But
okay, they have a skit like that too. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They should. It's a concept that's worth it.
So hold on, is that the one where she was like, okay, you got he wanted to get married and she wanted to get married? That one?
Yeah. There's negotiating. Can I do this on certain days? Yeah.
And I think the deal breaker was like in LA, I think it was, what's it called again?
Timeshare?
The Vines or something like that. She was like, he wanted to have a house in Martha Vines or something like that.
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah. And then he was like, nah. And she was like, is that a deal breaker? He's like, yeah. And they were like, oh, nah.
Yeah.
I got you.
There might be some skits about that, but that's the original as far as I know. But but people don't understand. At our level, that sounds silly, but to a large degree, a lot of high-profile relationships do come together just like that.
Yeah.
All right. And so when we see these relationships, we don't understand. Unfortunately, in this era, nothing is sacred anymore. So even relationships aren't necessarily what they're made out to be. So that's not to take a shot at all these public relationships that we're seeing now. But you have to understand that a good number of these are put together just for content.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it shouldn't surprise nobody. If you have couples getting together so they can go ahead and shoot fans-only porn content and make it back off that, please believe you have people doing the same thing, but they're not going to get naked. They're not going to go ahead and clap cheeks for the bag.
Right.
But they'll go ahead and put out all kind of relationship content. They'll go and try to get as many likes on YouTube and Facebook and IG and get it monetized and get the bag coming in.
Yeah.
And they probably go home to completely different people. They do all that kiss with. So we have to understand, in the land of social media, in the land of the smartphone with the dumb people using them.
Yeah.
Nothing is what it seems. Believe a quarter of this shit.
If that
you see. And anything you hear, dismiss, man. So
well said, brother. Well said. Well, we're going to get into some of our content because we got a lot of it today. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to put this up right now because basically the whole damn show is going to be celebrity trending news for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Because of the nature of what we're discussing today. I would love to discuss regular everyday couples, but a lot of y'all don't know these people. But I want to talk specifically about, these couples that look like, they're just the fairy tale to a lot of people, and people go, modeling their relationships after them, and then drama ensues. I'm going to start off with these two. I think this is a very interesting couple right here. You got Drewski and Ruby Rose, and I think that they were a very interesting couple for a number of reasons. This not too long after they got together, I guess fuckery ensued and Ruby Rose broke up with him, right? And immediately after she broke up with him, in quotes, she posted this. And for the record, I never slept with that man. Nigga paid for PR, not the pussy. This is the type of woman that we're putting on our arm. And then she says he's funny and nice though. And then she says, as though she's, making herself more of a model woman, I only give it up if I'm in love. I don't care how much money a nigga got. I'm rich as F. And, sometimes you dig yourself into a hole and you can't get out. She got dragged for filth after posting that online. Damn it, she got dragged and dragged and dragged some more for the hood rat, type of Jezebel energy she was exuding. And so, at least in my humble opinion, she decides to cop a plea and put out this cockamamie ass video here.
It's an honesty moment.
Oh shit.
You know this.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, me and Drew were really in a relationship, and I said it was PR because he pissed me the fuck off and hurt my feelings. So, yeah. But that was really lame of me and embarrassing that I shouldn't have said that, but I was like, I had to stand on it. But, It's in the past now, and we're friends and we're cool still.
Oh.
And we've known each other for like 10 years, like since high school type shit. So it's like we're always gonna be friends. So I just want to clear it up because he was really bothered by that.
Enough bird babble. Okay, so check this out. You know what I'm saying? For more detail on this type of behavior, please go back a couple episodes and review our episode entitled Playing in the Trash, and you can get all the information you need on handling garbage ass chicken head stank toe heifers like that. You understand? I don't understand. It boggles the mind. Why are you trying to even stand next to this woman? I wouldn't be seen in a Walmart with a woman like that. Her moral compass is so low. She is such a putrid cretin of a human being. You understand what I'm saying? Why would you want to associate yourself with that? The stench of a woman like that is going to rub off on you in some capacity, bro. Why would you want to associate yourself with Flotham like that? Do tell. Please, somebody help me out. Talk me off the ledge. I mean, she's a nice looking young lady, but maybe I'm old school like that. They tell me, or I grew up on some pretty is as pretty does type shit. So and not only that, you know, unfortunately, I'm not trying to bang on Drewski too tough, but he's an overweight dude. You know what I'm saying? Kind of goofy. You get the impression that growing up, he probably didn't have a lot of exposure to women. He probably never really had, you know, attractive women like that is my guess. You understand what I'm saying? And so your first chance at really, you know, publicly, you know, having the dime and whatever, it's like, oh, you know, I think he might have gotten a little overzealous and overplayed his hand or something like that. I don't know. But to me, from what I see when I review the way she displays herself, like even just now, you know, she came out and said one of the most despicable things possible. Oh, he paid me to be in to pretend to be in a relationship with him. He paid me for that. Then after that, she comes back and says, nah, we were really together. You know, I was just saying that because he upset me. I'm not sure which one is worse. You understand? But both of them show a very low life, putrid pimple of a person. You understand what I'm saying? Both of them. So I don't know. Like I said, talk me off the ledge. What is it about dudes like this acting this way with women like this? And what are your thoughts on this?
Well, you gotta understand we're in the era of goofy niggas getting money and getting women, right? They're not getting quality women, they're just getting women. And remember, it's the one of my favorite movies, and he actually has a lot of favorite movies that I like. I gotta give Nick Cannon credit. I like a lot of his movies. You know, Drumline is one of them, and what's the one with Christina Milian? Nothing but
Love Don't Cost a Thing.
Yeah, Love Don't Cost a Thing. It's that love don't cost a thing narrative for a lot of these goofy dudes. You know, he was the water boy, the Aquaman, they call him. He was the pool cleaning guy who ended up having a deal with Christine because she was the top-notch girl that everybody wanted. So he had a deal behind the scenes that if we go together, it would boost my image up, and which it did. It made his swag go through the roof, his notoriety go through the roof, and he had all type of women hitting on him because they thought that they was actually in a real relationship, but it was a business deal that both of them had because she had crashed her father's car and she needed money to fix it, and she didn't have it. But he was good at fixing the car. So he said, I'll fix the car. You just act like you my girlfriend for a certain amount of time. And they both profited off of it because he fixed the car. Their parents didn't find out. And in return, he got his swag up because he was with her throughout the whole time. And it boosts his image up from being a nerd to being the coolest dude in the school, even to the point where he was so admired that he made up some stupid ass dance that everybody was following and doing. So that's what happens. A lot of times you see these same goofy dudes that's out here getting into these business deals with women that ends up boosting them up for other women and also increasing their swag to get more of a bag. And I think that's what happened here. I think that was a business deal between two friends that end up putting him on another map because he's a fat, oversized, out of shape dude, but he got money now. So, you know, it's that whole Biggie Smalls, girls pee-pee when they see me. They do that for Drewski. As much as people don't want to admit to it, there's women that actually go crazy that want to be with Drewski, and his level of stock actually went higher being with a girl like Ruby Rose, because, you know, Ruby Rose normally goes for the ball players and all these other guys. So to see her with this fat dude now, it's like, oh, you know, what makes him so special? He must be super special if she ditching all the superstar dudes that's muscle bound and got the jock shape to get with this fat sloppy dude who's just funny, comedic dude. And you know what's in it with him. So the curiosity of that also it has women dragging his way, and then that leads him to go on now that he's on another level of getting the bag and doing his own reality show. And now he kind of I think he kind of spiraled out of control because he started picking fat girls and women that had anti-black hatred on the show. And it's like, yo, it was just very awful for this dude. So sometimes these guys aren't so keen and they're not thorough enough to understand how to pivot in the right direction when you do get a leapfrog position like that. You can pivot because he's never been in that realm. You could pivot into the wrong direction, and everything you worked up to, you could just throw it away in the trash. Because when the girl that was on the reality show, they found out she was pregnant, everybody thought she was pregnant from Drewski, and that kind of had dudes looking like, damn, the worst woman on there you picked and got pregnant. But come to find out she was pregnant from her boyfriend that she had while she was on the show. So it just goes to show you the level of women that was dragged onto that show just for entertainment purposes only. But he's part of the goofy guys, the Drakes, all these other guys, the Lil Uzi Verts. What's the other guy? It's so many of these.
The host of them.
Yeah, it's so many of these goofy dudes that's getting money now. That's getting women, and they weren't raised with the player mentality. They weren't raised on some real thorough dudes giving them real good games. So they're just game goofy dudes with money. And that's where you have a lot of guys following that, and they don't know how to deal with that. And that ends up having them going down the wrong road, following this, thinking that's a blueprint, and it's really a disaster plan. And I land my plane on that.
Facts. Bobby, what you got, man?
Man, I ain't about to talk you off no ledge, man. You matter of fact, if you crouch, do the most explosive leap you can, and do a front flip, half quarter turn, and all other diving board gymnastics that you want to do to prepare for the Olympics and jump off that mofo, you well within your rights to do so. But again, you gotta look out for these opportunists, man. And you know, the funny thing is, I wholeheartedly believe that she was telling the truth up front, and her saying that she was upset at him makes it even more like that she was telling the truth. Because I tell you, there's 2 times when you can count on people. There's 3 times that you can usually count on people to be honest with you. It's when they're inebriated, it's when they are angry, and when they're on their deathbed and about to give the last words. Those are 3 times when you typically, more often than not, 9 times out of 10, can trust them, take a person at what they're saying.
Yes, sir.
So she was mad, and she's going to admit that, she was mad. Yeah, I was mad. But, I only said it because it's going to hurt him. I didn't. No. You said what you said, ma'am, and you further meant what you said.
Come on now.
Let's not do that.
Come on now.
And on top of that, even if that was so, you said it for a reason. You could have said a number of things because you're mad and that you want to hurt his feelings. You can talk about his mama. You can talk about a dead relative. But you said that. Why? Pray tell.
Come on now.
What would make you go to that particular thing out of all the things you could have gone to, knowing that it's going to piss him off?
Right. Maybe
it's because you were actually, voila, pulling the curtain down. You had the Wizard of Oz stepping back from the curtain. Hey, this is how the trick really works over here. But even if we were to go ahead and to buy into what you were saying, yes, that's not true. She wasn't with him just because of the money. She just said that because that she wanted to make him upset.
Yeah.
That still says a lot about you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you thought that was going to be some kind of, salve to some PR things going to make you look better, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
That just goes to show that you're that kind of piece of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go out and try to drag your name through the mud and do everything, whatever to you, but you did that to him. You had no problems with embarrassing him, humiliating him in that fashion. That made this a whole thing.
Yeah.
What kind of awful pile of junk are you?
Yep.
And that's how you know when you're dealing with a true piece of filth like this. Because this is what she thinks is going to cut it as some sort of, mop and glow, Mr. Clean, magic erase is going to make everything better. It's going to smooth it over. No, that's not true. I would never say that about him. We're great friends. I know from high school, whatever. I just said this to piss him off. Yes, because that makes you like a better person now.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Facts.
Men lie, women lie. Angry Ruby Rose don't. So, unfortunately, you're too good of a saleswoman. Somebody needs to go break you off of some of that commission, whatever dealership you work for, whatever luxury fashion store you work for. They need to break out the commission because you did your job. You sold it well. Congratulations. We believed you the first time. And you might not be standing on your square, but we're going to stand on your square for you. No, we believe you. We're not backing down with you. So, but again, like you said, playing in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
This is not the kind of person you should be entertaining in the first place.
Yeah.
But again, this is what it is. And all I got to say to Drewski is, look, you trying to pay for relationships. I'm not going to necessarily knock your hustle. All I'm saying is let this be a perfect example that Bar Barker said it best. The price is right. You get what you pay for. So my brother in Christ.
Yeah.
Let me exhort you as a heavenly father would. If you go ahead and trick off for relationships for the image, might I suggest you up your budget a bit more?
That's what I'm saying.
I think maybe it might be steep now, but I think maybe 18 to 24% increase might get you in the neighborhood of not this bust down.
Bruh.
But if you insist that this is your bag, let me also tell you that instead you can also dial it down because there's a whole bunch of Ruby Roses that are less pricey than she is.
Facts.
So either way, you either not paying enough or you overpaying. But either way, you need to fine tweak your algorithm, my boy.
Facts, because that is an awful pick. And before I get into this next clip real quick or this next post,
I do want to say one thing real quick. I looked at Ruby Rose's pictures. She's not all that. That's all I wanted to say.
She's fair. She's not bad looking. She's a pretty girl, but she ain't. Oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Like you pay
to be going through that. Like if I'm gonna pay, I'm gonna pay for something better than that.
She is a Miami. She's a Miami 6.
Yeah, about that.
She's a Miami 6, a New York 6. She's a 4 in LA.
Yeah.
Now, if she goes down to Alabama, if she goes down to Oklahoma, if she goes down to Washington,
she'll be 8.
All that women better lock up their dudes because she's cleaning house. Supermarket sweeping that thing.
We're gonna have to have a whole. We're gonna have to have a whole show on that. Yes,
they ain't never seen a woman like her before.
Mm-hmm.
They finally gonna put their cousins down.
Yeah.
But she goes to any big market city. She goes to Houston or Dallas. She goes to any big market. She goes to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby ain't hitting out nothing. So all she got is that and some attitude, and she got a little light skin where that's it. To be honest, she has no talent either. To this day, I've been hearing her name probably about the last 4 or 5 years.
None.
I still don't know who she is. I don't know. I know she's not a musician. She's
None.
not an artist.
Nothing.
I don't know what she does. The only thing that I know of note that she hasn't been able to shake is that see some shit that got some paper off of doing fans only.
Yeah.
But supposedly something she did before is what got her the fans. But again, I still don't know who she is or why she's relevant.
She's one of those, you know what? She's one of those very sexualized women.
That's
so
what it is.
What she lacks in looks and actual, you know, beauty, she makes up for in heels and heavy lip gloss. And you understand what I'm saying? It's more.
In other words, she's famous for smutting herself out pretty much. In other words,
basically. And you know, you remember the guy was stalking her from OnlyFans. You know, he paid her a whole bunch of money just to hang out with her, and then he ended up stalking her. And then another video I saw her in, she's naming all the rappers that she's been with, like that's a flex, like she's a mutt.
This is one of the big drawbacks of social media. Prior to social media being kicked off, prior to the days of MySpace and making that applicable to the population, prior to then, a chick like this was only going to be able to get paid off of maybe doing some warehouse work and Craigslist.
That's it.
She'd be on Craigslist, dropping her pictures.
She'd be on Backpage.
She has a busy weekend. That's it.
Not even Craigslist, Backpage. She is a mutt.
That's it. Social media made it possible for the least among us to go ahead and get paid outside of standard means, and that is a shame.
Yeah, straight bust down. But anyway, let's move on because we got a lot to cover tonight because there's a lot of people out here living these lies. Next couple up. Tina Knowles, the notorious T.I.N.A. and Richard Lawson. You dig? You remember that? You remember that relationship? I remember that relationship. You know what else I remember? I remember this. 71-year-old Tina Knowles. 71-year-old Tina Knowles revealed she decided to divorce her husband, Richard Lawson, after waking up one day and realizing she deserved so much more. And then in that same article, she went on to talk about how not only did she deserve so much more, but she didn't lose a night of sleep. She didn't lose a blink of sleep over that. And, you know, this person was just basically, she was just denigrating the guy the entire interview, you know, and denigrating their time together. She has no grace. She has no tact. She acts like her face looks just mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is where we are, right? And at 71, to be popping that shit like that is insane. It's diabolical, bro. Because at the end of the day, you still 71, ma. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, I remember that interview. It's insane, bro. I remember the interview where she was sitting down with the dude and she was telling him, oh, how you're not that great. And, you know, you're not perfect. Oh, no, you're not. I mean, she was just dissing this guy right there while he's sitting there. And I'm like, dude, where is the respect? I would have walked out of that interview like, yo, you don't talk to me like that. Maybe I'm just, again, too old school, because if I don't like your tone, you're going to get checked right there. I don't give a damn who's sitting there. You're going to get checked right there in that space. You understand? And I'm also very careful with my tone too, because I believe in respect. I believe in mutual respect. So why you talking to the man that way? Why you talking about the man that way in an interview after you're divorced from him? You understand? And of course, you know, you had to settle. You know, you had to settle. You talk about having to settle. No, you had to settle. You had to pay him. God damn it. So why didn't you talk about that? How you had to pay him. You understand? People like this are those people that create the type of toxic environments out here in these relationships, because women will see that and their natural instinct is to just co-sign the sisterhood. You know, well, she just living her truth. She just telling her truth. Let a man go on TV and say something like that about his wife. It'll be the end of the world. Huh? Even if it's an ex-wife. But since she's a woman, you know, they love to cape for anybody that got a pair of titties. You understand what I'm saying? So like, you get on there and, you know, you say whatever ridiculous, vicious bile you can come up with. You understand what I'm saying? And you can guarantee that some knucklehead female gonna back you up just because you got a pair of titties. It's always somebody coochie caping all the time. You understand? And this is the problem we have, because that's an elder. This woman is old. And you still out here popping that shit. There's no reason for anybody to know that type of stuff. Huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say older.
Ain't no elder. That's an older,
not an elder.
And not an elder. Well, yeah, you know, but I'm saying, like, in terms of her age, she should know better than that. You know, and we need to be mindful when we conduct ourselves a certain way. We're, you know, telling other people how to act, especially when we're a certain age. And I'll park the Chevy right there. It was despicable. You know what I'm saying? And she does stuff like this all the time. Go ahead.
Nah, I don't like when women say that they settled. Women got to realize you don't settle. There's no settling with women. And I don't get why they think that women settled. It's the mindset. This is a psychological mindset, delusional mindset that have women thinking that you can apply to be getting better out there. And in reality, you attract where you're at. If you can get better, you would be getting better. But you haven't got better because you're not in a space to get better. You're in the space to attract what you can attract. You know, if anybody's settling, it's guys settling. You know, because at the end of the day, women have a set bar for the standard of man that they want. So if that's the guy that you accept, then that's the guy that's available for you to align with. When it comes to men settle, because men, they don't care if you don't have no job like that or anything like that. It depends on how that man is set up. He needs you to fill in a space and a void in his mission. He needs you to be that helpmate. And if he feels like you have any kind of principles, manners, qualities that align with that, it don't matter what you got on paper. He don't care about that. He cares about how you are going to come into the system and make it better for him. So that's why you have a lot of women out here saying hoes are winning. No, the hoes ain't winning. It's this woman you think is a hoe, but she provides qualities that man needs. And it's the qualities that he could not get from you. So while you think that this girl is winning, you should be figuring out what the hell she's doing to acquire a man like that you feel like you are more in a position to get. So I think a lot of women need to get down to reality. And, you know, the Godfather, man, as much as they hate him, bro, it's like it comes back in full circles of what he's saying, man.
Always.
I was listening to something he said the other day, man, and it had me thinking, do you know that the energy of women is so low right now that we have been praising a feminist woman for decades as the standard of a woman?
Who was praising her?
I didn't even realize that till the Godfather pointed that out. Claire Huxtable is a feminist, bro. I didn't realize how much of a feminist she was. But you wouldn't. No, seriously. When he broke it down, dog.
You're right.
She is a feminist, bro. The way,
you're right.
And you wouldn't know because it's not saying that she doesn't have the charisma, she doesn't have all the attributes of femininity and things like that. But on the Huxtables, on air as Claire Huxtable, she was the dominant woman. Like, if you look at everything, she was running things. She was undercutting Cliff, undermining him in some things, and we didn't even realize that stuff. So I was like, damn, when I was listening to it and you were breaking that stuff down, and it's not bad on Claire Huxtable's part, it's bad on society's part that we have women that, even though Claire, as much as she exudes femininity, you can see the divine femininity part is there with her. She's the the essence of a woman. Yeah. But in Claire's sight, there's feminist things about her that we overlook because of her divine femininity that we are so craving for, that we overlook that because a lot of women don't even exude the divine femininity that she exudes. So I was like, wow, that is so powerful, man.
Let me throw something real quick. The reason why it throws us off so much is because she actually operates the way white feminists do. That's the difference. Because think about she is a true OG feminist in that respect. Because remember, think about it. The black women who have bought into femininity and the other non-white women who bought into femininity, they have bought into, as is with most of the case, a trickle down, watered down, degenerate version of it. Because remember, we would talk about this all the time about how the white feminists will go ahead and get black women to be roped into their agendas and be the sword point, will be the warhead on their missiles for their movements, but they'll sit back out the danger zone, but they'll go back home to their husbands.
Yep.
They go back home to their husbands with their children. They otherwise live in many respects, they live what would largely be considered a traditional lifestyle. But they'll go out here, feminism, and they're real feminists. But they'll be the ones that have the black women out here single, hating men and not getting along with them. Minus all that other stuff, she carries on and conducts herself the way they do. We're just used to seeing the prototypical, the desired, the standard feminist actions for black women. We're not used to seeing a black woman conduct herself the way that those feminists, the white feminists, do. That's why. It's just that if she was a white woman, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
You're right. You are
That's
absolutely
well said.
Right.
And let me tell you something else. Something else is gonna hit you in the head a little bit. That hood rat that posted put that post up talking about, some played out actress, from back when Hector was a pup, ain't gonna come and tell me, how to do the whatever. But there's something else that she said in there that kind of resonated a little bit. Washed up actress, blah, 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 that's been divorced 3 times. I didn't know that. And she has been divorced 3 times.
Yeah.
And that's heavy. At that, that shows you can learn a lot from a dummy. Even a hood rat, you know what I'm saying? That really didn't have much else to offer to the conversation.
She did her research now.
Yeah.
She did her research now.
I'm like, oh, damn, she's been divorced. And some of those guys, like Ahmad Rashad, we don't know him personally, but universally, he's recognized to be a really solid dude.
Before he passed away.
Yeah, he passed away?
Ahmad, I'm thinking the basketball, the sports commentator dude, not him.
Ahmad Rashad, I didn't know he passed away. He passed away?
Ahmad Rashad, that was on like the guy who looked real young in the face. He used to be on sports commentating and all that. Yeah, I thought he passed away from cancer or something like that. No,
I did not know that. Damn it!
Did he? I'll tell you right now.
I did not know that. Damn. Okay. No.
Oh, we also have to talk about, while you look that up, I just want to say we also have to discuss a show that
nope, I think still alive.
He's still alive?
He's alive.
Oh, okay. I thought well, he has cancer though, right? He had cancer or something like that?
Could be. No, you're thinking of the brother that just opened a restaurant down here the other day.
No. I was thinking about the sports commentator dude. I thought
Ahmad Rashad is still alive and kicking, man. And so that's probably because when I found out that they weren't married anymore, I was like, what? It's weird because those are 2 really solid people. You're like, what the hell happened? And then knowing that she had 2 husbands prior to him, and those marriages also didn't work. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Like I was saying, I think we need to talk about, we have to have an episode to talk about, there's a psychological thing with certain women that I don't know what it's called, but it's like a new feeling. They have to have a recurring new feeling. So it's like, you have a new high of getting into a marriage, and then you're so into the marriage and you're like, it's new there. But after a while, it gets old, and then
getting that addiction, that honeymoon phase,
and then you get remarried again and get that high again, and then you get a divorce, and then you get into another marriage, you get high again, and it's a repetitive thing that women do. It's a short happiness phase that women get for initially being married, and then after that, it goes downhill, and it's a high that they can only get from reoccurrence of marriage. That's why you see a lot of women that remarry like that, certain ones of them, not all of them, but certain ones have this. It's a psychological high that they get of happiness for the initial marriage, but not the duration of the marriage.
Okay, and that's why. And I'm going to say something that's going to be very controversial because I don't mind about saying that. I say what's necessary.
Go for it.
That's one of these reasons why, because typically that's something that women will experience, not men as much, because we know that even when it's beneficial to do so, a lot of men will not go and get divorced.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's a reason why the divorce rate is primarily made up of women and not men. And it's not, it's damn sure not because men don't have any gripes in marriages. That ain't it.
No.
It's just that for a lot of men, divorce isn't something, even when it should be, it's not something that a lot of us are really wired to do. But so that's why specifically what I'm going to say is addressed to women and not as much as men. This is why it is risky. I wouldn't go as far as saying dangerous. I'm almost there, right on the cusp of it.
Okay.
But I will go as far as to say is it is risky for marriage-minded men who are serious. You're not looking to be a serial husband trying to have 19 different spouse, whatever. But for the men that are serious about marriage and commitment, this is why it is very, very risky to consider seriously dating for the purpose of marriage a woman who's been divorced before. Even if she's only been divorced one time. The reason for that is divorce, period. And I've never been through it, thank God. I never have. But I have friends who have, and I know people who have as well. Divorce, especially when it's not on amicable mutual terms, hey, things just didn't work out, we'll go our separate ways, whatever. But typical divorce is a very depleting, draining nightmare. It taxes you physically, it taxes you mentally and emotionally, it taxes you spiritually. That's why so many people, they're so worn out by the time it's over, especially if it's not going smoothly, whatever.
Yeah.
Divorce is taxing. It is one of the hardest things that you can do. That's one of the big deterrents to getting this divorce in the first place, because people who have an inkling of what divorce is about, they're like, I'll be damned if I go down that path. I don't want to do it. If I do get divorced, I'm not getting married again. I'm so shook. I don't want to risk doing that again. So you have to be careful, because we've spoken about before about opening Pandora's box. And what's let out of the box can't come back in. When a person has already done one of the hardest things that can be done, the threshold for crossing that barrier is a lot lower. So if it took this much for you to get divorced in the first place, divorce the next time, that threshold is going to drop down here. Or drop down here. Or drop down here. Like anything else in life, you become desensitized.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why typically the rates for divorce, for a second divorce after a person's been divorced the first time, particularly the women's side, tends to be up. It's not uncommon to you may meet a woman who's never been divorced before. She's been with her husband and they made it all the way, or she's been divorced and never been remarried. But it's not uncommon to hear about women who've been divorced 2 or more times.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. I'm not saying for any brothers to go ahead and write off a woman who's been divorced before. Stop being lazy.
But proceed with caution.
Correct. Do your due diligence, no matter whether she's never been married before, whether she's been divorced 18 times. Do your due diligence. Don't be lazy and say, okay, she's been divorced. That's okay. You might be writing off your blessing right there. Stop being a lazy nigga. Do your due diligence. What's up, Key to Blessings? Bobby's divorce is devastating like a death in the family. It really is. You're living, especially if you were in with the family, you've been to the Christmas gatherings, the family holidays, the family weddings, graduations. You are literally severing off a part of the family. It is a nightmare for if you're close with your relatives, your in-laws, or other family members. You're basically separating a whole family. Is what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you meet someone that's been able to do that the first time, just understand, especially if they haven't done the work afterwards, or they haven't gone to therapy afterwards. Most people don't. To kind of rectify all that. Just understand that the second strike, it's going to be a lot easier than the first one. So,
okay. Well said, brother. Well said.
But real quick before, just want to say, because I know we're going to jump on to the next subject.
Go ahead.
My feedback on that whole situation, first off, 71 years old, a lot of people just refuse to grow up. permanent child. Talk about Peter Pan syndrome. It's Peter Pan and Patricia Pan syndrome. They just don't grow up.
Ridiculous.
71 years old, and for all intents and purposes, he may as well flip the numbers around and call it 17. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
What I have to say, I actually had a nice long conversation about that with someone the other day. I had this little back and forth with a sister online, and it wasn't disrespectful. So I was able to actually have the discussion in depth, and I'm glad I got to. It was a good conversation. A lot of people got some good stuff out of it, some good gems.
Yeah.
I might actually drop the shit because it's a little long. I'll probably drop the screenshots in the group later on.
Okay.
Side note: if you're not in the Manifestations 2020 group on Facebook, what are you doing?
Facts.
We drop some nonsense and some tomfoolery here and there, but it's a lot of good game, a lot of good gems that you're gonna find there as well too.
Join the group.
But right. But I'm actually gonna share what a dude of mine, I think it was Juan, who said it. Shout out my guy Juan Rich. He dropped and said something very telling, and I just was clapping the whole time he said it about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "This here is a heifer talking about Tina Knowles that used to sell Amway until she met a man who worked as an assistant director at IBM, and he made enough so she could chill. And they had this mentally slow child, his words, not mine, who was pretty, named Beyonce."
Oh!
This country bumpkin ass heifer, talk about Tina, this country bumpkin ass heifer don't realize that she was even lucky to meet an actor like him, talking about Richard Lawson.
Mm-hmm.
But he messed up by choosing the mother of Beyonce for clout. Even a famous actor from the 70s and 80s is seen as less than to the average broad. Celebs shouldn't fraternize with the uninitiated peasants. Now, I looked up, because I'm not that familiar with Richard Lawson. I've seen his face around a little bit. I'm not that familiar.
You're a boss. You're a boss.
I looked at the brother. Now, he's not balling out of control. Oh, it is. Now, he's not balling out of control crazy. I think I checked, I did some slight digging. I believe his net worth currently is $1 million. That's damn nice. That's pretty good. But this brother is, as the youngins say, booked and busy.
Yeah, definitely.
Booked and busy. I checked the man. I checked the man's resume. This man first broke into Hollywood in the 1970s.
Yep.
And this brother ain't stopped working yet. All of the film studios out there know this man's address. He's had, and not one, he's had multiple, a plethora of gigs in the 70s, a plethora of gigs in the 80s, plethora of gigs in the 90s, the thousands, the 10s, and the 20s. This man has been making paper in Hollywood for 6 decades. 60 years.
Yeah, I think
he's
he's
on the silver screen. Yeah,
he's under Tyler Perry right now. Tyler Perry has him locked in as all his films, so he's good.
Right. He made a killing during the whole blaxploitation era. He was in a lot of those classic flicks, whatever. He was in the some of the Blackula flicks. He had some recurring roles on some big time shows. He had some guest appearances, but man has not stopped working since. He stays getting paid.
Yeah, boss.
And he's in relatively good health as well too. So I can't see any reason why, God willing, when the 2030s roll around, he's gonna make paper then too. So this is a brother who has made his paper the legit way.
Yeah,
been getting
he's solid. He real solid.
And here you go. And if you looked at some of the things that Tina's been saying, talking about she woke up one day and she decided that she wasn't happy. She's choosing her or whatever. Man, now Matthew Knowles, genius brother. I mean, again, he was working big time for IBM, and then he was able to go ahead and flip his daughter's career and her daughter's friends' careers, do something spectacular, whatever. So this is a brother that shows that he has talent, he has an eye for it, and he knows how to produce it and get the most out of it. But dude was a serial cheater.
Yeah,
dude was a serial cheater. She was with him for the longest time. She left him. By all intents and purposes, she got with a man who she mentioned was a great guy. But even that's not enough for her. So again, at what point do we grow up? When does it happen?
Well,
I'll land my hover round. I'm into
Well
this
said.
week. I'll
Well
land my
said.
hover round.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to get to. We went way over on that, but hey, good game still nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? We gotta talk about this, y'all. We gotta talk about this because this is kicking up dust right now, dog. And these two were not necessarily a couple, but for purposes of this exercise, they're gonna be a couple. Oh, and of course it won't let me share it. Why won't it let me share this? Okay. It won't let me share. Okay, for whatever reason, it won't let me share. But we're gonna talk about. It's not in there. It's not in there. It's on my desktop. For whatever reason, certain files it won't let me share, or whatever the case may be. So we're gonna skip over that one. But what we will talk about, we'll just go directly into the article. Hold on. Let me get that article here. No, it won't let me do it. Okay, god damn. All right, we skip to the next one then. We're gonna talk about these two because this is a big deal right here. This is kind of what everybody's talking about here too. You know what I'm saying? These two, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let me tell you, we got a lot on these two. They went from that beautiful picture that you saw right there, DDG and Halle Bailey, to this article here. Hold on. DDG and Halle Bailey. Well, it doesn't have the article. Wow, removed it. Okay, I want y'all to see this stuff.
Chip my tooth.
Yeah, you got to check this out because in this article, Halle Bailey claims that her ex DDG viciously attacked her multiple times, and she shared photos of the bruises and the chipped tooth. Now that just happened, but this video here on the right is from some time ago, and listen to what she says.
Guys, like I've always been a little scared of the dentist, but I'm going for my regular cleaning and also because I chipped my tooth.
So, mind you, she just filled out a report with the police, domestic violence allegedly, you know, or I'm not even sure because he wasn't arrested. So I'm not sure if she just reported it or whatever the case may be, but or she's just reporting it to social media. But immediately after that, she goes and files for sole custody of her kid. And I noticed, you know, I'm not going to say that he didn't put hands on her or that he did. I don't know. I wasn't there. If he did put hands on her, that's wrong. And, you know, something needs to shake behind that because you shouldn't be putting your hands on women. You know what I'm saying? And nobody should be putting their hands on anybody, in fact. However, I notice every time there's any type of issue between these two, it always has something to do with this woman not allowing this man to see his child. This is not something that I'm making up. You understand what I'm saying? This is the real deal. It's always something about, oh, you know, he's gone on live and said, hey, you know, she won't allow me to see my kid, She has talked about how, you know, she doesn't want the kid over there with him. You know, she's made complaints about the kid going online on his stream, but her sister takes the kid on her stream all the time, here, there, and everywhere. There's never a problem. It's only a problem when he wants to see his kid. You understand what I'm saying? And that speaks volumes because, you know, what that tells me is she's looking for a reason to cause some type of trouble with this guy so she can keep the kid away from him. And my speculative spidey sense tells me that that's because he don't want her no more. Now, there's also a bit of, you know, insecurity going on his end as well. You know, whereas, okay, you know, she's, I think with Brent Fires now, whatever, and he was catching some feelings about that, and he was talking about that online, this, that, and the third, whatever. He's saying it's because he doesn't want him around his kid. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, that's who she's dating now and it's whatever. But I feel like she's trying to throw it up in his face. And there's a reason that I feel that way. It's really because of this. Check this out. Oh, my God. And it won't play the video either. Okay. There's a video. It won't play that video. There's a video of her talking about how, you know, people think I'm so innocent. They think I'm so sweet, this, that, and the third. But really, I'm confrontational. I get at people. I get under people's skin. My mouth is slick. You know, I'm real toxic. You know, like she's really talking that talk. And, you know, you kind of look at her like she got 3 heads when you see it because she don't come off that way.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? She carries herself in a way where you would think that butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, and she's so respectable. And, you know, she's basically confessing on this video that she's a little hood monkey inside. You understand? And, you know, I suspect that that's at the root of a lot of these problems. So, again, you have this Hollywood couple where, you know, oh, they look so cute together. This is couples goals. You know, people are posting up and they're talking about them and this, that, and the third. And it's fake as a goddamn $3 bill. All that shit is contrived. You understand what I'm saying? Or at least it looks that way to me. What y'all say?
Yeah, I really wish that we had the video with her and her sister Chloe.
I think I have anxious attachment style. Everybody knows I'm an Aries.
Hold on.
In a relationship, I think I have anxious attachment style. Everybody knows I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate. I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will go to battle with my yelling, with my words, everything. I'm good at that, right? And if I gotta yell or check anyone, that's what I gotta do. That's just the way I be.
Yeah, that's the clip right there.
She's a real piece of shit, bro. She's
telling more. That's the video that she admits. She admits that she is a manipulator.
Yeah.
You know, that's not us telling or giving y'all a diagnosing her. She's saying it out her own mouth. She's telling y'all be thinking that I'm innocent. And in reality, I'm not. I could be hell. Y'all just don't see that. And this is out of her own mouth in the interviews. There's so many other videos of her saying this, admitting this. And what happens is, you know, women get to be the perfect villain and victim at the same time.
Yes, they do.
They get to be the double V and V. And the thing about it is because we have so much of this image of women and the narrative that we don't protect Black women, and Black women are the #1 unprotected people on the planet, and this narrative that keeps going on. And what that does is when you push that narrative for a long time, it gives women the opportunity to be a villain and still get the benefits of being a victim. And a lot of times that hurts Black men because now Black men, the propaganda is Black men ain't shit. Black men treat Black women like crap. Black men support capitalists. Black men support white supremacy. All this other bullshit narrative to make Black men look bad. So Black men have to be, we have to be villains and then prove to everybody that we're victims. So we don't get the benefit of the doubt across the board. And that's why you have so many men in prison right now that when women cry wolf, they have to go through the consequences of dealing with a very tragic part of their life, you know, being booked, public humiliation and things like that. And then even when they do fight for their freedom, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. It's not, oh shit, my bad. How can we help you to rectify the situation and do what we need to do for compensatory to what you need in order to get you back on the right track. So a lot of times, you know, you have these women that run around with that type of protection that do a lot of damage to men and get away with it. And it's very important. And that's why I say when your book comes out, you know, you can help men avoid that, because one of the things that men have to do to avoid it is you have to vet women properly. DDG, you know, I do side with some of the things that the brother has been out there doing and proving to people about his character. Even his sister came out and tried to defend his character and she got ripped for it. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that DDG, dog, you have a responsibility of vetting somebody, and this is the person you chose to create with. And I tell people all the time, the woman you choose to create with can either create heaven for you or hell for you. And he's going to live in 18 years of hell when you procreate with a woman that's that manipulative and doesn't care anything about your feelings, doesn't care anything about the child and the child's well-being, because now you're playing on that child's other parent as well and eliminating them from having their real joy and time that is going to be taken away from them because of your manipulation in the games that you're playing. And that child's going to grow up and end up resenting the mother. Most of the times, that's what childs do. They resent the mother because after they are old enough to look back and see that all the shit that their mother did to their father, then they realize why their father wasn't in their lives as much as he was supposed to be. So it's very important for fellas, man. I know we always tell women to vet and always on them that they got to vet properly when they make their mistakes. But man, you guys got to have discipline and vetting real good and thorough before you procreate with these women. And I'll land my plane on that.
Yes, sir. Bobby, what you got?
Just came along with just not everything up the park, man. Absolutely.
That's what you do.
You have to understand. You can't just think about yourself when it comes to dealing with somebody. Not even when it comes to a long-term future, because unfortunately we have a lot of children being brought into this world now that at the time of their conception wasn't nobody actually thinking about, well, let me start a family with this other person. The kids just flat out. There's a lot of one-night stand babies, unfortunately. There's a lot of lust children out here, and I remember I spoke about that a while ago about how we have a lot of children that behave and operate, or a lot of people, excuse me, that behave and move and operate in a lustful manner, or with lust behind a lot of their actions and their energy and their spirits, because they were conceived in lust. There wasn't any actual love. There wasn't actually care. There wasn't any actual nurture there. Daddy was in heat. Mama was in heat. They got in like dogs in heat. And as soon as the post that clarity came in for both of them, they want nothing to do with the other person. But now here comes this child conceived in the middle of that.
Right.
And that child has all this energy floating around inside of him, what have you. We got to start being mindful. I've said this, and I'm going to stand on this till the day I die. Being a good parent starts long before the pregnancy test comes back positive. It starts long before the period is missed. Being good parents starts long before you and their parent have sex that fateful night. It starts long before all the other practice sessions, before the one that finally gave y'all the jackpot. Being a good parent starts long before you even exchange phone numbers. Being a good parent starts long before you even meet the other person. Being a good parent starts with you being intentional in your dating and communication processes.
Yes.
It starts with only entertaining people that you see a future with, that you have done the due diligence of homework with, and that you have vetted and said, you know what? I would want to have a son or a daughter just like this person. If I could, because when you're having a child by someone, it doesn't matter whether it's the woman who's conceiving the child and giving birth to the child, or if it's the man who's alley-ooping the seed that's going to take shape into this child. It takes two. As the ladies love to remind the fellas, it takes two. So therefore, it's on both of them equally. If you cannot look at that person and say, you know what? I want to bring another you here, because that's what you're doing. Having children by someone, impregnating someone, or allowing someone to impregnate you, especially if y'all don't go and get that plan B, or if that's how you get out, you decide that you don't want to make a stop to the hitman's office. Choosing to have a child with, shout out to Corey Holcomb for that one.
The hitman. God damn. You niggas. Okay.
If you know, you know. You got to see the joke. It's horrible, but it's hysterical. But yeah, when you choose to go ahead and have a child with someone, or to give them the option to have your child, that's an endorsement. That's the biggest endorsement that you can make. You're saying, you know what? If I had a daughter to come out like the mother, I'd be thrilled. I'd be over the moon. If I had a son, if we have the son that we have, I want him to go out there when he's of age and find a woman just like you to be his wife, and vice versa. The little prince that he's giving me, I want this boy to be just like his father, exactly like his father. Or if I have a little girl, I want this little girl to grow up and to find a husband just like her father. That is what you're saying.
Yeah. True.
And that's the most powerful endorsement you can make, because you have to stand on that.
Yeah.
Once that little person is here, you can't say, "Oh, I didn't mean that. My bad. I was just playing." No, you can't get off your square. The child is here. Permanent.
Well, a lifetime, you got to stand on it. Kanye.
So you have told the whole world that this is what I value. I wanted my child to be this or to seek that. So if you're not entering and dealing with the opposite sex with people with that in mind from the get-go, then you're already failing as a parent.
Oh, yeah.
The egg and the sperm haven't even high-fived yet, and you already dropped the ball. God dang.
I'm just saying, bro.
You already taking L's, bro.
That was deep. That's a very deep way of looking at that. And you know, when you say that shit, certain people pop into my head automatically. Kanye West, you're telling us you want your daughter to be just like Kim Kardashian.
Now, I'm not speaking on nobody's children, and I know someone's going to feel salty about what I'm saying, because the peons, if they got nothing else, they got an opinion. I also think it's funny that you can say peon in opinion, and you can mix the letters around a little bit as well too. But if Kanye West child, if Lil Northwest, we love Northwest, she's a sweetheart, but if she were to go up and be just like her mother, and I don't mean the positive attributes.
What positive attributes? Shit.
The less glamorous attributes of her, if she were to go and emulate that, could we really be surprised?
I couldn't even.
Would there not be a blueprint that she already easily has access to go ahead and step one, step two?
It's the only one she has
30
access
minutes.
to. Yeah.
All right now.
Go ahead, Ann, real quick.
I was gonna say I couldn't. I can't even give her credit. There's no credit to give her, because even the one piece that I was gonna say, oh yeah, you could give her credit for bailing out the people. She stole that from two black women that was doing all the work and got credit for it. So it's like,
as I said, if there is one, I don't know. I don't follow these people's lives, so anything I hear is news to me. So maybe the people who locked on the TVs and they got Kim K everything, they got Chloe K, maybe they might know some of the better attributes, or maybe they might be able to imagine some in their heads. I don't know, but whatever you think is a positive attribute, then go ahead.
I gotta search for that one, bro. I'm gonna take a few weeks and try to get one.
I'd agree with you, but here's the thing: I don't care to. I don't care enough. I don't give a damn enough to search.
Oh my God!
She could be Mother. She could be Mother Teresa underneath all that. That's good. I'm glad to hear about it. I don't care enough to go find it.
That's painful. Okay, we gonna run through these last two, man, boy, because I saved these two for the end, because you know these two. Bruh, I'm just saying. Hopefully it comes up.
But wait, there's more, huh?
Hopefully it comes up this time. God damn. Oh, okay. I see what it's saying. No, because this is the problem, right? You have to put yourself in the shoes of, like you said, the person who's doing the choosing, right? And when you do that, bruh, it's so easy to not choose like this. It's so easy to not choose. Well, okay, there we go. Finally, it came up. Okay, these two are not necessarily a couple, but they were definitely involved, and they were
coupling.
Huh?
They weren't a couple, but they were coupling.
They were coupling. They were doing stuff, right? You dig? And it was, Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez were a thing. Even this particular picture, and they wrote an article about it. And the article asked the question, okay, what's next for Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez? That was the question that it asked. So we can't very well say that they weren't a couple, because they were putting off that they were a couple somewhat, at least kind of, sort of, right? Okay, so that being said, right, we're going to go into our next segment. Oh, let me bring up this other file. There's so much on these two. It's just, it's insane, right? Hold on. Yeah, this other one right here. Tory Lanez makes new claims regarding Meg Thee Stallion shooting. Enough is enough. And an organization supporting the rapper and singer claims that Megan's former friend, Kelsey Harris, shot at Megan 3 times, right? Okay, I'm not going to front. That's not the first time I've heard that. I've heard people allude to that throughout everything. The story never, a lot of people have the way they feel one way or the other about this story. It's very polarizing. The story never made sense to me. I always felt every time I heard this story that everybody is fucking lying. None of it makes any sense. Okay, so we're going to branch off into our question of the day on this, because I think that this is really important, and I think a lot of people really, I saw this meme, and I really found it interesting, and I thought it was thought-provoking, and I really feel where it's coming from in terms of the perspective. The meme asks, it tells us first, new DNA evidence presented by Tory Lanez suggests he never touched the gun, right? Which is kind of consistent with what was said before, because they say that the test came back inconclusive. Also, Kelsey's bodyguard has made new statements saying she confessed that she actually let off at Meg Thee Stallion, right? And the question reads, what if Tory Lanez is truly innocent, and where is the Protect Black Men movement in that regard? And I'll just let y'all chew on that for a minute. I find that very interesting, and I'll hold my thoughts till after you go sound off. What you got?
Yeah, I don't know if you might have heard that from me when it first aired off, and I was on Facebook. I told people exactly what happened the next day, because everybody that knows me knows that I'm heavily connected with people that's heavy in the industry, and even people that's heavy in the community, because I'm one of the top leading community heads down here in South Florida.
Yeah.
I'm very low key. I don't like to put myself out there. I like to be more behind the scenes than be in front of the camera. And I was reaching out to one of my good friends that's really heavily connected inside the music industry. And he told me, he had hit me up and he said, yo, I asked him, I said, hey man, you know anything about the Meg situation? Because he's heavily in that situation. He's a low-key dude, but he knows everything that goes on behind the scenes. And the next day I made a post that said, I had to put allegedly, but from what was told to him was probably told from the bodyguard to my homeboy, that he was like, yo, what happened was, remember they had left the situation. They had left the situation was, what was the other Kardashian girl, the young one?
Kendall,
right? So remember Kendall had a party. They were all at the party partying with Kendall. Kendall and Meg got into it.
Kylie.
Kendall was flirting with flirting with Tory, and she didn't like that. And you remember another thing that a lot of people don't point out is that Meg is an alcoholic, right? She has a past with alcohol.
She does.
And she does not know how to hold her liquor right. So she was inebriated, from what they were saying. She was heavily on drinking that night. She was very over the top. So
she always is,
drunk, right?
Yeah. Allegedly.
So she got allegedly. So she got so pissed off with Tory because she felt like he was flirting with her, and she kind of got into it with the young Jenner girl, right? So they end up leaving. So her, the girl Kelsey, she's the publicist. She's Tory Lanez's publicist.
Yeah.
So they end up leaving in the truck and end up driving away. Meg is very animated. She's hot and everything like that. So now she gets into it with Kelsey because I think somehow she found out that Tory was banging his publicist too. So now he's banging Megan and the publicist.
Yeah.
So it comes to find out that I think in the midst of the ride, that information came out. When that information came out, both of them was talking shit to each other. It got to the point where it went all the way left that they had to stop the truck to get out. While they were getting out, there was allegedly Chelsea grabbed the gun and shot towards Megan. But what they don't tell you is Tory grabbed the gun from her to stop her from shooting directly at Megan. And that's when they said it ricocheted off the floor. And they said some kind of fragments or whatever the case may be. I didn't hear nothing about the fragments or anything like that. But I know that he had grabbed her hand to stop her from shooting Megan. So it was Kelsey really wanted to off, because a lot of people don't understand when Black women get into it, it's not like brothers. You know, brothers will punch it out, we'll argue, and then we'll dap each other up and go about our way. We even fight each other and then afterwards dap each other up out of respect about our way. When it comes to women are so emotionally charged that they have a rage where they take it to the next level. And sometimes that next level is death. And that's the level that they were on. They were on some killing each other shit. And he came in as a buffer and stopped that. And he doesn't get the credit for that because what he did was he tried to be the oversized simp that he was and tried to take up for these two women because he was banging both of them because he didn't have dick discipline. And this is why dick discipline will put you in some fucked up situations
discipline.
that you would never should have been in the first place. So because he had sexual intercourse with both of these women, he felt like he had partial loyalty to both of them, and he ended up trying to take the rap
and guilt.
Yeah, and they fucked him over in the process. So not only did she get immunity, she got on Megan's side and they both point the finger towards him, and that's how he got fucked over. So him trying to help out and protect Black women end up backfiring on him and getting fucked over twice as hard. And now he's realizing, damn, I should never have put myself in this situation in the first place. And that's why everything is coming out now, especially after him being stabbed, because a lot of people feel like he shouldn't have been stabbed because he shouldn't have been in jail in the first place. So now all of this information is coming out, and I just want to land my plane on that.
All facts, bruh. That's pretty much what everybody's saying. That's been the consensus. That's why, a lot of people have always pushed back. Even women are pushing back against Meg. Like women are lighting her ass up on
losing support.
She is losing a lot of support.
They seen that in her fake ass interview with Gayle King. And people know when you're in that interview with Gayle King, that shit is all scripted. It was fucked up from the get-go. And people saw through that shit. And when she was sitting there trying to cry and women was calling her out like, bitch, you got to be lying because it's fake. When you in a situation and women, it's not hard for women to shed real tears. For her to sit up there and try to fake cry, everybody knew something was up.
And the thing, man, I have two major problems with this, man. Like one, like you said, you're over simping, trying to be a quote unquote gentleman. So you gonna take a 10-year sentence for a bitch? Nigga, what the fuck wrong with you? Like, bro, no, nigga. What are we doing? And then that's one. And then two, along the same lines, like, bruh, this whole code of the streets bullshit, no snitching. Nigga, if you'll shut your dumb ass up, you gonna get in there and start talking. Hey, bruh, you didn't shoot nobody.
Let's be real. He's another goofy nigga.
Get
money. Let's be real.
Shout out
goofier than that.
Shout out to the great sage King Gilly. Money can't unlame a lame.
Facts. Go ahead, Bobby, because we got to get through this.
That
Go
boy
ahead,
was
go
under
ahead.
the Holy Spirit when he said that day, boy. Money
Go ahead,
cannot
Bobby.
unlame a lame.
Mhm.
I don't have too much to say about this. Y'all lit it on fire. What I will say is the timing of this was interesting. Now, I said, because I know some people try to make it out because, you know, because of their conspiracy theories, whatever. They were trying to say because Tory was using his influence to kind of get a whole bunch of brothers that were locked up with him some legal assistance and some guidance and get their case reviewed and everything. They're trying to say, well, that's the reason why he got stabbed or whatnot. You know, the warden, and they don't like that. They wanted to go ahead and get him taken out. Okay, that's not the worst conspiracy theory I've heard about, but not likely.
Okay.
However, what I did hear, and again, this isn't me giving the cosign, but I'm saying that this is what's out there. So supposedly there's a blogger that's well known. I don't know about him, but there's a blogger that's well known by the name of Jason Lee on this podcast, and he's known for being messy, but he does have some sway with some folks in the industry.
He does.
And apparently someone reached out to him, Tory reached out to him and actually spoke to him personally.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking. He was just trying to get some a headline, you know, how he's doing back there post the whole since he was locked up. And mind you, this was before the stabbing took place.
Mm-hmm.
This was before that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he was trying to find out, you know, how you do it in their housing conditions, whatever, Tory allegedly told him, "Hey man, I'm gonna be out of here soon.
Yeah.
I've had my attorneys working behind the scenes. And what y'all don't know is that there's been a whole bunch of evidence that was suppressed during the trial that they did not allow to come out. And we've been going ahead doing some work, and they talk about there was some work that we've been trying to do to get that released. And he said that we finally got some traction. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get this reintroduced so he can go ahead and get me out of here. I might be home before the end of the year."
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, this is not me reporting this. I don't got no industry friends. I'm not clicked in there. But this is what blogger Jason Lee said. And he went ahead and he just published this. He said this during his televised broadcast. So he put his name and his voice to this now. So that's his credibility on the line. That's up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is what he said.
And text messages.
Text messages. He was reading off on his phone. It would stand to reason that if word made its way, and of course, you know, during the whole legal proceedings, you understand that there's not at the trial, but there's discovery. People in the legal system talk. If the attorneys are speaking to one another saying, "Hey, we're going to bring some stuff up to trial, be ready for that." Okay, we'll be ready. It's going to make it to Meg. Wouldn't cost too much for Meg or someone close to Meg to go ahead and put in a word and say, "Hey, that Lane's cat, he don't need to see the end of the week."
There it is.
So what you saying?
Say less.
I'm saying this has been a stressful time for him. Maybe he's ready to get his reps. No, I mean, wouldn't take nothing for that to happen. And let's be honest, out of all the things that have happened in the rap game, this would have been the first time somebody called for somebody to go ahead and get X. So it's not like this would be a novel thing. All right, but in light of that, and again, if the timestamps weren't what they were, this would have been just brushed off. But it's funny that this was said before the shanking took place, and all of a sudden, next thing you know,
yeah.
So
remember that Megan is Def Jam's one of the top industry cash cows right now. So they don't want anything to disrupt that.
They literally took a whole label to war just to go ahead and get her. So there is some investment in that. But and all that's great for fodder. But what I want to end this on before we jump segments, I really don't want what you said, Ant, to be missed or get caught up in all the little back talk, because that was the key. All of this, everything, this all stemmed from a lack of sexual discipline.
Yeah.
You got Meg over here, you got Kelsey over here. You can pipe Megan if you want to. You can pipe Kelsey if you want to. But the both of them, that's messy. Brothers, some of y'all think being messy, like some of y'all that have the gift of gab, that have you way with the ladies, that have that sway, some of y'all think mess like this is cute.
Think it's a flex.
Y'all think it's adorable. Yeah. You know, especially both the friends, they find out how they're going to be fighting over whatever. Y'all think it's cute. Grow your ass up. Tory thought it was cute. He thought it was key.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
And he was key in that night. And the bullets would go key.
Yeah, basically.
And then the brand new Damier VVS Silver Cup said key. And last week in prison, Big Debo, you want your cornbread? He grabbed that toothbrush.
That shank, yeah.
It was in his ribs going key. So it's all key until the joke is on your ass. Now, this is an extreme example, but there's a lot of brothers that have taken L's because, again, they've had no sexual discipline.
Tighten up, niggas.
All right, now.
Tighten up. That's all to it.
I want to, right before we get into this, I want to let people know what is the worst place to have dick discipline?
The worst place to have it?
Yeah, to have dick discipline.
I don't know if there's a bad place to have dick discipline, fool.
Yeah, it's the workplace. Remember, they're all artists.
The lack of it.
They're all artists.
You said lack of. You didn't say lack of it. You said the worst place to have it.
Yeah, to have dick discipline. To have dick discipline.
To not have it.
The worst place to not have it. Yeah, not have it. My bad.
It's work. Yeah, okay. Well, okay. I got you on that. I agree with you on that.
Because all the knuckleheads are going to hear that and say, Anson don't have dick discipline. All right, yeah.
Yeah. The worst place not to have dick discipline.
Anson, I don't
hey, man.
You never No, they said we don't have it.
The worst place to have not this.
I agree.
Don't eat where you shit at. We always heard that statement. Don't eat where you shit at. It's the worst. If shit go wrong, you got to be around these people for.
Never keep the money and the dope in the same place. The money's here, the dope is here. Don't mix and match.
Exactly.
And you said that girl was his publicist, so that's kind of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not smart. That's not smart, fellas. Okay, we there, y'all. We gotta talk about it. What's going on? Hold up. What's up? You know how to say this one for last. Cassie and Diddy. That's couples goals. We was posting that. Listen, not even 5 years ago.
I gotta give you the Shannon Sharp face.
Hey. And by the way,
I don't know who couple goals that was, because first off, that was never my goals because of the distance of age. So,
well,
I personally listen to Suge Knight. I didn't want to have him all dancing in my videos and everything, so he could never been my goal.
Well, that's you, and that's cool, and I can respect that. But most people are not as evolved as you, and not as evolved as us, and so regardless of the age difference and the many red flags that I saw, even when I first read about how they met and all this old stuff, she's a beautiful young girl. A lot of niggas like, man, fuck that. And that whole red too. That's how these niggas think. They think like they got this plantation buck mentality. Ooh, she red, you know, bruh, you know. And listen, fuckery ensues, because right after that, this is where we are now. From that cute ass picture to ex-girlfriend testifies Sean Diddy Combs forced her into drug-fueled sex parties. All right, that's where we are now. See, if you notice, I show you the beautiful picture of the couple first, and then I show you the bullshit. And all of them have, subsequent bullshit that they engaged in. We might want to do a part 2 on this show, because this is deep. Like these so-called couples, and people used to post them all the time. Oh, couples goals. You know why? Because they're not looking at the age difference or any of the red flags, or even trying to look into the relationship to see if there's anything going on beyond what the surface level shows.
Hell, before this broke out, they was doing that with Diddy and Carisha.
Diddy and Carisha, yeah, that too.
Right there. So,
well, that was after.
She support my man. I mean,
yeah,
he was doing it there too. So
yeah, that was after. Yeah, and then they were doing it with Will Smith and Jada. I mean, this is why I'm having this show, because I've seen so many brainless people posting this couples goals bullshit to find out that these couples that you're trying to pattern your goals after are anything but people you should be trying to emulate. You understand?
The
these
septic
people,
tank grade.
Facts. These are two degenerate, drug addicts, sexually depraved monsters, allegedly. Because let Cassie tell it, you know what I'm saying? Allegedly. Because let Cassie tell it, she was forced into all of these freak offs. She was forced. And it's like, dude, hell hath no fury like your own goddamn testimony. You get on the damn stand and you just tell it all. And what you don't tell, your text messages tell. I'm always ready to freak off. I can't live without you. I can't wait till the next FO. But you were forced. What are we doing? They had the damn male sex worker up there, one of them. This is the prosecution. They've already spoken to this guy.
Hey.
Right?
Don't do that.
They got him up there. I gotta go there, man. I gotta go there. Okay?
Why?
They called the man up. Like, yo, has Sean Diddy Combs ever paid you? Well, no, Cassie paid me. Well, goddamn. has Sean Diddy Combs ever scheduled any of the freak offs? No, Cassie always was one that kept in contact with me to schedule the freak offs. Okay. Well, did Sean Diddy Combs tell you to piss in Cassie's mouth? No. Cassie requested that. And then when I wasn't pissing in her mouth properly, she directed me because I was pissing too fast. So I had to slow down my drip. Bitch, get the entire fuck out of here. What are you doing? What are we talking about? But you were forced. Bitch, please. Really? And the thing is, like, I feel bad. Not to say, and that's not to say that at some time or other, maybe something did happen, whereas she was sexually abused or whatever the case may be. She claims that he raped her. She can't prove it. But if he did that and she were able to prove that, well, that's wrong, but that's not what he's on trial for. And so my head is exploding the whole time I'm watching these people like, okay, goddamn, are these people amateur? Is this amateur hour? Because I don't hear shit about no sex trafficking yet. I hear a lot of nasty shit. The male escort, he had, when he would come on her, she had to take it and run to the other room and rub it on Diddy's chest on some real nutty shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? What the fuck does that have to do with trafficking?
Man. Oh my God.
What does that have to do with trafficking?
Well,
that's my question. Are we trying to prove trafficking? They sound like they're trying to win this trial in the court of the goddamn shade room. What the fuck? Why are we talking about all this salacious nonsense that don't have nothing to do with trafficking? In my opinion,
that is in part. You're not wrong. That is in part what they're trying to do. See, the thing, what they're trying, and apparently they have a whole bunch of other witnesses. They're going to call later on in the trial. They're going to get to that stuff. What they're trying to do now, basically, is character assassination. They're trying to paint a picture of Diddy as being this, basically, the Lucifer incarnate of all things devious. He was the dark skinned bad boy. Take that devil with the pierced nipple rings and the clamps and the horns and little satyr hooves and everything. They're trying to basically make him out to be the dude over the lava pit with the trident and the pitchfork, and he's just directing all the evil, sinister, dark, sexual, deviant type things going on in the background. So they're trying to basically paint it. They're basically trying to, in other words, color code the minds of the jury so that when they finally get to all the other stuff that they actually bring, the things that are actually what they're on trial for, you already have such an unfavorable view and perspective of him that you can say that he did anything and you're going to believe that.
Or if they go and that shit altogether.
If they go and say, no, some of this stuff is pretty traumatizing. Just you bringing that up again, I'm going to have to brainwash myself after tonight to try and forget. So if they're anything like me, I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't know, man.
But that's the strategy. Wow. It's very cheap, but it damn sure will be the first time that's been done in the history of the legal system. Mm-hmm. It by no stretch of the imagination will be the last time that they do it. It's a pretty effective strategy, and it doesn't matter how much the judge goes ahead and sidebars and instructs the jury that you will forget this. I'm ordering you to strike that from the record. They might strike that from what they're officially allowed to consider and review, but that stuff still sticks because they're humans. They're not computers.
My question
can't go back and delete that or whatever.
I hear you, Bobby. My question is this. I object. Nobody's objecting to this. Nobody's telling us this has nothing to do with what the hell is going on. Are Diddy's lawyers listening to this shit?
Now, see, the funny thing about that is it depends what the strategy is. Now, they could definitely object to that and say, hey, this is out of bounds, it's beyond the scope. But the funny thing is, and I wouldn't say she's necessarily the key witness, I don't know if she would be considered the star witness, but if the ground zero of this whole case pretty much stems from Cassie coming forward and saying what she said, then the interesting thing is, as much as it may paint Diddy in a bad light, this also paints her in a negative light as well, too. Because like you mentioned, everywhere you go, it's the dynamic duo, Batman and Robin. It's Diddy is Batman, but Cassie Ventura is damn sure Robin, and she's right there participating. She's running.
She did more shit than him. Diddy ain't even fucking nobody.
She is the press secretary, the chief secretary of freak-offs.
Come on now.
In the White House.
Fact.
So as bad as this makes him look, this also makes her look bad. So if that's the strategy they're leaning towards, or if there's other things they're hoping comes out as a result of this, that's fine. But also, if this is about sex trafficking, then this stuff also needs to come out as well, too.
She is Dick Cheney, no pun intended.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because Dick Cheney was actually the one running the damn country. You dig? She's the one actually running things. Why isn't she being charged with a fucking RICO is what I'm asking.
The problem with this, these people make deals all the time. They'll definitely go ahead and sacrifice. They'll take an L over. They'll gladly lose the battle over here if it means they can win the war over here. You had people. Remember during the whole Robert Kelly trial and everything, you had parents that we all know. The evidence is there. We have parents that we know were willing to sell out and smut out their children, prostitute the children to this demon, just so they had to get a bag. And the prosecutors were willing to go ahead and take that testimony.
Yeah.
Offer them immunity. So basically, in other words, you legalized and enabled the trafficking of your own children for a bag, so long as you can take down this guy.
Sure did.
You didn't make it your business saying, we're going to take him down, but you also traffic your child. That's disgusting. That's heinous. We're going to take you down as well. No, they're willing to give them immunity for prostituting their children just so we can take this guy off.
Despicable.
So they literally make deals with the devil all day long. So that's not beyond the scope by any stretch of the imagination. It's a dirty business. For the most part, it's not about justice. It's about scoring wins and losses.
Yeah.
And you can rest assured that when this trial is all said and done, if the state is lucky, someone's going to go ahead and run for election on something. They're going to use this as the means by which they go ahead and get and secure their position or whatever. Remember, you had somebody literally running. You had a state attorney literally running, talking about my whole platform is to go ahead and get Cosby.
Yeah,
that's what I'm running on. I'm running my campaign on the fact that I'm going to go and get Cosby, not because I want to go ahead and credit anything.
Yeah, and people will support a fool like that. Like, what about the needs of the people?
So we're not. I'm not co-signing anything, right or wrong. Yeah, I'm just simply saying that this isn't about justice at this level. It seldom is. It's about proving a point. It's about making your bones.
Yeah. I think you're right. What you got, Ann?
I was reading. Actually, I was listening to a interview of a white attorney outside of the case, and he was saying that from all the things that he know, it looks like Diddy's going to get free off of this case because they really saying that they really don't have anything. They're extending it, but they don't have anything. But I did want to say, I did want to bring up the part where a lot of women are leaving this out. Remember, there was a huge trend and a megaphone behind women doing the same thing as men, and it's not to be shamed for. It actually should be praised that women are going out there having sex with multiple people should not be looked down on because it's women, because men do it too. So this whole notion that women can do what men do, right? And if you say that, then that is bullshit because you had a white man, was he Cassie's husband? Or boyfriend? That's a That's her husband.
He's a husband now.
That's her husband.
Her husband. This is before him. And that man sat inside that courtroom and heard all this shit come to the light. Because see, women don't tell you what they do in the dark. So this man thinking he had, oh yeah, you deal with puppy, fine, that's fine. And this man is like listening to all the shit, you peeing on him, you rubbing this stuff on, and you doing all of this gruesome shit. The man was so fucking appalled by the shit he heard, he ran out the court. Do you know how bad of shit you have to do to get a white man to be to have this man say that's too much when this is basically white culture?
Facts.
They're the creators of Freaks.
Yeah. Well, that's another. Okay, go ahead. I'll get to that. Go ahead.
Let me give my 3 cents on that too. There are no victims, just willing participants. Don't be so quick to buy what Mr. Alex is selling either. Remember, and this is why it's important to kind of, there's a lot going on, but it's very important to at least keep the basics in perspective. Remember, Mr. Alex, just like Cassie, was a former employee of the Diddler.
That's correct.
He was his personal trainer. Diddy hired him to be his personal trainer, and then he also went ahead and signed him to work with Cassie. Diddy is the reason he even knows Cassie in the first place. He facilitated that meeting. So if you think he might not have been in depth and involved. I mean, he's basically the hired help. He's auxiliary, like the pool staff or the maids or whatever. So how much access he really had is probably limited, and his role doesn't call him to actually live there. But if you think for 1 minute that he ain't know about how the Diddler got down, how he ain't heard some conversations he shouldn't have heard some rumors among the other people. If you think for 1 minute he didn't understand what the deal was between the two of them, you got something else coming. I would not be surprised if old buddy is putting on the Hollywood acting role of a lifetime right now.
Probably.
Doing everything to look like he's a supportive, caring husband. Oh, that's awful. I can't believe you did this. I won't stand for this. Oh, you'll not speak for this way. That's the mother of my unborn child. Oh. Doing all this legendary Gone with the Wind type acting. And he's waiting for a nice several years. Because remember, it's not just about her getting the money now, because she already got the settlement. What's happening now isn't for the settlement. Cass already got the settlement back. This trial is a result of what she said that came out during her whole civil suit. And now the feds are basically picking this up saying, wait, we heard some things that sound prosecutorial. Let's get in here. So she already got her bag. I wouldn't be surprised. And at that level, they play the game, unfortunately, smarter than a lot of us. So he's sitting there. She's got the bag, but it's not enough to have the bag. See, she's got to start spending the paper now. So they got to start going on some extra vacations. Maybe, few years past, they move into a bigger house. They have an expanding family now and everything, right? And now, once the money starts flowing, they're using the settlement paper. Now, all of a sudden, he decides for some reason, you know what? I can't take the stress of the trial anymore. I've been trying to fight through it. We have to file for divorce.
Yeah.
And now when he files for divorce, they're saying, because I've seen some people say this, well, he can't get nothing if they split up because that's her money is clear. It's not about the fact that she has the money and she didn't get it through that. It's the fact that she came into the money during the course of their marriage, number one. But most importantly, number two, the money's being actively used. And women should understand this because women use this more than men do, so they should understand this readily. The whole argument is that I need to maintain a certain standard of living. We were living a $1.2, $1.3 billion life before, but now that this new paper's out of the equation, well, we're now living a 8-figure lifestyle. I'm used to living at a $10 million, $20 million standard of life now. I need to keep this going for a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and tap into some of those funds we've been using for this purpose. That's when it comes. So don't be too surprised if by 2030 5 years sounds good to you guys. I'll meet you guys here same time, same place.
Mm.
Don't be surprised. Breaking news.
Come on now.
Black
but
women,
wait, there's more. Take that. Okay.
Black women got to understand that dating that zaddy is dangerous because you don't get the same treatment that white women get because you have black women that's paying spousal support. We had that one girl, she was on the podcast, and she was like, I had to pay this man's fucking spousal support, and I had to pay him money out of that, and he got the house and all that. I was like, dang, they ain't playing with y'all. Holly Berry's paying child support for both of her white dudes. There's so many cases of black women that's paying for these white guys that they divorce. So
white zaddy and white mommy play the game and understand the game at a level we do not. It's we might play checkers. We might be some damn good checkers players. They out here playing chess. In some cases, they're playing Go. They playing next level strategy games out here. All right now.
I like what you just said. Speaking of understanding things on a level which we do not, I just want to hit y'all with something real quick. Who's familiar with sex magic?
No,
Aleister Crowley, Satanism, sex magic. Read up on it. Read up on it. Because let me tell you something. People think that it's just, whatever. And, Diddy is just, he's a freaky motherfucker and all this type of shit, whatever the case may be. Diddy is more than just a freaky motherfucker. I promise you, I can show you, I can prove it. Male seed and nipple rubbing in sex magic.
Nigga, I don't want to see
sex magic. I'm giving you some. I'm giving you some game.
I mean, it's knowledge, but it's good to know. But I'm definitely gonna need therapy after tonight.
Y'all gotta understand this shit.
First thing in the morning, I'm dialing. Putting my health insurance to work, bro. God damn.
Listen to me. People really, really underestimate what's going on here and just dismissing this by saying that Diddy is just a freaky dude and, he's just a freak. He just, he got so much money, he gets bored and he's freaky. No. There is a specific sect of Satanism called sex magic. And Aleister Crowley, who's considered the godfather of Satanism, he's the one who made these great breakthroughs in sex magic. And the specific practice of using male seed and rubbing it on nipples within the context of satanic sex magic is not specifically described in mainstream satanic texts like the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey. That is some heavy shit. However, it doesn't mean such practices don't exist within certain groups or individual practices. It is possible that personalized rituals, the individuals or groups may incorporate such practices into their rituals based on their specific beliefs and interpretations of satanic principles. Influence of other occult traditions. Satanic sex magic may draw from other occult traditions such as Tantra or ceremonial magic, specifically Talisma, which it doesn't mention here, but look that up too, which might involve similar practices. And the use of male seed and nipple rubbing could be interpreted symbolically within a ritual representing power, fertility, or the transgression of conventional norms. Basically, Diddy does that shit because he believes that that gives him power. He is conducting basically a type of satanic ritual, is what a lot of people on the ground are saying. And this is not, I've been hearing about this type of stuff for years.
Yep.
Not just that, all these type of depraved orgies and all this old shit. You ever look at the Kanye West video for Power? You look at the imagery in that video, that's when I knew Kanye was gone.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, I would say most of these artists are involved in some type of occultism or Satanism or both.
And that's why when I refer to Holly, first off, I don't call it Hollywood. I call it Holly Weird
It
And
is.
that's why I've said that the music industry is also part of Hollyweird. It's basically an offshoot and auxiliary.
Yeah.
The same folks that basically run the film industry, they have their hands in the other media auxiliary of that in the music industry. It's one and the same. That's one of the reasons why you see. That's one of the reasons why more than ever now. It used to be every now and then back in the day, but especially the 90s was when it started happening for real. But the 2000s really solidified it. The era of what they would call them as modern day Renaissance men, but the crossover artists.
Yeah.
They're successful in the music industry. And now also they make the leap over to Hollyweird and they're acting in films now. And they're not just doing that, but they're finding success, or vice versa. It's an actor that's well known. Now they go and they start making music projects as well, too. It's that free-flowing commingling of the two because it's the same hands in both, but it's also a lot of the same mindsets in both. And this isn't to say that everybody that's made music and also acts is into the Hollyweird nonsense. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that there are some that are into that, and part of that is made easy because, again, it's the same hands. One hand washed the other, both washing the face. Right?
Very well said. And I just dropped a link in the chat, guys, for the some of the conversation that I was just talking about with regards to the Satanism and the whole story behind that. There's a guy that I listen to, The Truth Is, and he really brings some receipts. You're going to see some people on that video that you probably won't expect to see on that video, giving props to the godfather of Satan. I mean, out of his own mouth. So yeah, it gets like that. You know what I'm saying? And when I heard that part, he's rubbing male seed on his chest. I heard that somewhere before and it clicked. And I went to go look up my man's page, and sure enough, he already had a video on it. Check that dude out.
A lot of that stuff is about the free flowing between genders as well, too. If you look into some of that stuff, you see that if you see any of because they're not going to necessarily get into the exactly how-tos, because a lot of that stuff is highly protected, but they do let some kind of vague general summaries of that stuff slip. A lot of that involves the flip-flopping or the commingling of genders.
It does.
The idea of certain things being done that would be considered feminine and masculine, but basically they treat that shit like it's an NBA All-Star weekend with all the skill drills. It's the passing, you over here, you over there. She's doing the guy stuff, he's doing the girl stuff. They're doing both. They're both. A lot of that stuff is free flowing because they believe that there is no boundaries between that.
Hence, all of the agendas that we see being promoted out here. You understand what I'm saying? Hence, because we see it all the time. Don't they always try to blur the lines between masculine and feminine? They're constantly doing it, especially the black people. Because like they showed you in the movie Sinners, there's something special about our spirit, our essence, that allows them to reach another plane that they wouldn't be able to otherwise. So they're always trying to gentrify our soul.
We make stuff hot.
We
make
do.
Stuff hot. Somebody said the other day, and this really, I mean, because it's nothing I didn't know, but just the way they put it, it just really kicked me in the chest.
Yeah.
And they said, one of the reasons why you have a lot of us shunning wealth or shunning things to get us to higher levels is because we unfortunately have done such a damn good job of making poverty look fly.
Yeah.
And when they said that, when they said that,
I saw that.
When they said, yeah, you saw it. I'm like, and it hit me. So I'm like, think about it. You literally have people who made it out the gutter. They made it out. They're doing well. And automatically T.I. came to mind when I thought about this. They were in the struggle. They got out. They're doing well. They're living in gated suburbs. They're doing fantastic well. There's no sign of poverty or struggle anywhere in their family's history. And you got their kids. They're so enamored with the idea of the lifestyle that they will literally backstep. They will literally go to the trenches trying to go ahead and live that tough poverty, thugged out lifestyle when they don't need to. But it's because we've made it look so glamorous, so good. We've even taken poverty and struggle and made that something to aspire to.
Yeah.
For people of all demographics, well-to-do black folk, well-to-do white folk, well-to-do Asian folk, everybody. They all, as a rite of passage, when they're young especially, they try to slug it out and prove, I'm like, you don't see that anywhere else, but we've done such a good job. Everything that we touch, it's a stamp of approval.
Yeah, facts. And that's definitely one aspect of it. We do make everything hot. We are the secret sauce. But even on a deeper level than that,
It
our
goes deeper.
spirit, we're able to channel shit that nobody else can't do. You know what I'm saying? We're able to invoke spiritualism. And you ever just be sitting down and you listen to some shit that's deep and you just feel it on another level, you start tingling. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I remember I took my mother to the museum some years back to see the Egyptian exhibit in Broward County, and she saw a statue of Akhenaten, magnificent statue of Akhenaten, and she just started crying. I mean, like, she just started boohoo crying out of nowhere. I'm like, God damn, like, yeah, my mom don't cry. My mom is a G. You know what I'm saying? And she's looking at this statue of Akhenaten and she just starts weeping. It's something about us. And that's why they're always following us. That's why they're always watching us. That's why they're always experimenting on us, because they know that they can't get to where they're trying to go without us. We are a necessary cog in the wheel that gets them to the next level that they're trying to get to, because they ain't got no soul like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a lot going on out here, y'all. But make sure y'all check out that video from The Truth Is, talking about Satanism in the Diddy sphere. That shit is heavy. All right. And without further ado, folks, get into our last segment of the show, which is the crown check. And our illustrious crown check goes to a prior crown check winner. She's going to get it again tonight because it coincides with the topic so perfectly. Our good sister, Simone Biles. And I'm going to throw it back to when Simone Biles told fans to F off over a personal matter. And I don't see sisters doing this type of stuff. You understand? This is what makes Simone Biles a queen. You understand? Simone Biles gave an all-around scolding to critics of her marriage with player Jonathan Owens on Sunday. Y'all are, blatantly being disrespectful to my relationship, to my husband. So I'm going to go ahead and say this one time. Respectfully, F off. Biles wrote on Instagram. And shout out to that sister. I need to see more sisters with that energy, because this woman is happy with her man. That's why I showed the crown check picture with her and her man, because all of this shit that they trying to push on you with all these toxic relationships and these buffoons that they want to pedestalize, they keep telling women over and over, you don't need a man. You understand? This sister's very proud to be with her man. She loves him to life. And she said, screw all y'all miserable bitches. I'm with my man. And that's what it is. Fuck all y'all. And that's what we need out here. We need, and he holds her down. He respects her. He treats her well. He seems like a very solid stand-up guy. And this is what I am talking about. We need to see real couples goals. You don't have to pattern your relationship after no celebrities to have couples goals. Set your own. Be the example that people want to see. And write your own goddamn rules. There is no rule book to being in a relationship. I'm happily married. I've been happily married for a couple years now. I'm going to go and stretch this motherfucker out to the end of time. I'm good. I'm bouncing off the walls over here. You understand? And I didn't get to this place by putting up no picture of no celebrity couple talking about some goddamn couple's goals. A lot of y'all are idol worshipers. That's just what it is. Y'all really looking for somebody out here to be your goddamn savior, them to set the example. And if you just act like them, then you're going to be something great. The greatness is within. That's what a lot of y'all fail to realize. And, I want to see more of that out here, because everybody can be great if you just put the work into yourself and, really push that envelope. And I'll park the Chevy. What y'all got?
I treat couples goals like I treat the fact of your inner abilities of accomplishing your own goals.
Okay.
It should be what you feel is your goals. There are things that resonate with you and other people that you say, oh yeah, that's how I would be with my spouse as well. So that could be a mutual couple's goals in your aspect of your life and what somebody's doing in theirs. But at the end of the day, it's really about you. Like, what is your time frame? What is what you like? You know, I saw the video. I think that was Bobby who posted the video. Shout out to Intellectual. What's his name? Sniper.
Okay. My boy JC, Jamal Campbell.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to him. He posted a video of a woman that, you know, she talked about that. She was talking about how, you know, women, you guys don't understand that y'all want this man. Y'all pray to God to give you this husband. Y'all get the husband, but then y'all don't do the extra work for this man. You know, times that he's down, you don't cover him and pray for him and uplift him the times he needs you. You more than likely end up kicking him while he's down and things like that. And that does not have anything to do with you being a wife. You know, a wife is much more than the title itself. It's more of what she's saying, more of a helpmate, you know, being there for him when the world is really putting a lot on him. So I thought that was a positive, a very impactful video. And it got a lot of great reviews from a lot of the sisters. They were like, oh, you know, this, you must have put this up the video for me. And I thought that was very good for the women to co-sign something like that, to push that narrative more into the forefront that I think a lot of women should embrace, you know. So when you see these couple goals out here, man, just take it with grace because you don't know what's going behind the scenes. But if there's something publicly that you like and that you feel like you want to implement that into your relation and it's going to be healthy, it's a healthy and prosperous thing, do that, you know, but also know your mate, because it might be something that you like, but it might not be something that your mate like. So that's why you line up with whoever you line up with, learn what they like, what they don't like. That's the importance why a lot of people go around talking about love languages now, you know. So learn your mate and find the values inside your mate and have a mate that would love to find the values and enhance in yourself as well. And then you'll be that couple's goal for other people. You know, you lead by example. So be that beacon of light for other people in a healthy way, because we're tired of seeing all the toxic trauma bonded relationships that's imploding in front of our faces and making us, when that happens, when you're not lined up right with people and then you're publicly putting it out there, you're actually doing disservice for the community, because now you're giving people the image that these things don't work. And in reality, it works. It's just that you're lining up incorrectly, making it look like it don't work. So you can sit back and have a light and not plug it into a socket with the right voltage that will generate that light, and then say that the light is bad and all these lights don't work like they're supposed to. Well, you didn't line it up with the right outlet, with the right current voltage to operate and project that light. So just to give you guys that type of gem to go ahead and proceed with yourself, and I'll land my plane on that.
Well said, gang. Bobby, take us home. What you got, bruh?
That's what's up. Big ups to Sister Simone Biles. I will willingly and gladly take and accept any and every reason to go ahead and tip my hat to that sister. She's just a wonderful spark plug of joy.
She's extraordinary.
I can imagine, I mean, take all her accomplishments to the side. I can just imagine if she was just regular old Simone Biles who worked at somebody's office workplace, I can still imagine that she would just be probably the pride and joy of her family, darling of all her friends. She just gives off that good vibes only energy. So, and I can imagine that that Jonathan is very similar as well too, and that's part of the reason why they found each other and why they were able to really gravitate towards each other that way. And again, I love the way how she stood 10 toes down, full cane corso on anybody that's trying to come for her and her relationship. Y'all not gonna attack my husband that way. Y'all not gonna come in my marriage that way. She protected the relationship. Look, hey, wherever she at, hey, your wife.
Yeah.
If you ain't got a Simone Biles spirit, yeah, we gonna be in the counsel's office real quick. If you ain't got that cane corso energy about us, don't even bother.
Come on now. Come on now.
Need that, because rest and believe it's the same energy on this side as well too. But like you said, we need some more of that. I'm reminded of talking about how we don't see that too often. I'm reminded of Phyllis Hyman back in the day too. She's another sister, amazing music, wonderful singer, but she had that same spirit as well too. And I actually went to look at it because I remember she said it, but I wanted specifics. I remember that shortly after she dropped her very highly regarded album "Living All Alone," and the hit single that came, the self-titled single that came from that as well too. She did an interview in Jet magazine about a few months afterwards the release, because part of not that there was any controversy, but some of what she was talking about in the song had to sound like she was, coming at dudes or a man did her wrong. If you listen to it, you kind of get that. It's easy to get that perspective of, oh, it's some man that cheated on her or was doing her foul or whatever. But she didn't have to. But she made it a point to address, I guess, whatever the rumblings were at that time. And she said, I purposely stay away from songs with negative lyrics. I don't sing about, I don't like that man because he did so-and-so. As a black performer, and listen to this level of responsibility. Listen to this. As a black performer, I won't do that to black men.
Wow.
I refuse under any circumstances to put down men in a song. Living all alone does not have anything to do with putting down a man. I didn't say it was his fault that I was living alone.
Right.
I think we black people should be trying to build our relationships.
Okay.
Come on, sister. Come on.
Okay. Come on now. That's what we need.
That's the energy. That's the spirit we're talking about right there. One of the reasons it's so easy to get caught up in this whole couples goals things, if we tell the truth and shame the devil, is because, unfortunately, a lot of us, we did not grow up seeing positive, solid relationships. Our parents were that model for us. Some of us didn't have any sort of healthy marriages in our family that we could actually refer to as a point of reference. So it's very easy to go out and see a DDG and Halle Bailey. It's easy to see a Diddy and Carisha, Diddy and Cassie or whoever, and say, wow, they look so nice for the cameras. They look so well. They look so happy, whatever. I want that when I get together. I want my relationship to be like that. It's easy to do that. It's understandable. But you have to understand, as we've revealed in depth tonight, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. All right. Now, the people I know who have solid marriages in their families, when the discussion about couple goals is mentioned, I don't hear them talk about celebrities. I hear them talk about my mother, my father, my example of couples goals. My aunt and uncle, my grandparents, they've been together for 60 years. They love each other like they just met. That's the couple goals I hear about. We should take this as an opportunity to further dial down and make a pledge to ourselves that we are going to be, like you mentioned, the couple's goals. We're going to be our own couple goals first and foremost for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be couples goals for our children.
Yes.
For their children.
There you go.
We're going to be that couple that sets the tone. We're the pace car for our family. That, you know what, this is the prototype. This is the blueprint right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we need to do. So again, sexual discipline, being intentional, being mindful, beginning with the end in mind, thinking ahead, not letting our lower natures take the lead. That's where it starts. That's how you get there.
Yeah.
He's going around and diddling your chick and then diddling her publicist. That's not how you get to this kind of end result.
What a dumbass. Right? Like, bruh, what is he thinking?
Going out and, you got a different chick every day of the night. That's not how you get here.
Nah.
Going ahead and letting dudes pay for relationships and then airing them out the next day and then apologize for it. That's not how you get there. Men and women alike. So we have to be intentional about this.
Yeah.
All right. You don't get this by accident. This is a result of being mindful, being intentional, planning, having foresight, and execution.
And most importantly, man, stop being fooled by surface shit. My
and that's
God.
another thing. Look,
my God,
I had to address this, and like I said, I'm gonna share the screenshots. I'm not gonna get down there, but there's a lot that we need to do if we're gonna have these healthy outcomes that we need to really understand. Because a lot of us want things, period, not just relationships, but a lot of us want things. But the issue again, lack of guidance, lack of leadership. We don't understand what it takes to get there. We don't understand what it looks like. We have a lot of false interpretations, partly because we see the end result, even when it's right, but nobody shows us what it looks like in between. and it's not what we think it is. So again, we have to take it upon ourselves to be that, seek the guidance from credible, thorough sources, and most important of all, we have to execute. Because there's no point having all the good game in your head up here and your life ain't reflecting. You need to be acting out the good game you see. It's better if you get one gem in your life and you're acting it out and you're making the most of it than to have a whole encyclopedia full of good game and you put none of it to use. What are you doing? But that is the end of another week of Manversations. We appreciate everybody that's clicked up and linked up with us, our Facebook fam, our IG fam, and of course our YouTube fam. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you connect with us. Aunt Malcolm, Major Gage, Bobby Drake. Please hit the like button. You see the instructions. As soon as you see this, you should have done this already. But do it. Make sure you share and subscribe. Share it in your socials, spread it via word of mouth, and the bell icon that's up above. Make sure you go and tap that thing one time. We are not going to firebomb your mentions, but when we go live, you will have the invitation to go ahead and parlay with us and get this good game that we're kicking. Really quickly before we depart, next week is a major situation. It's a major occasion. And no, it's not just that it's Memorial Day. There's that too. But most important of all, it is our good and most righteous brother, Major G-A-U-G-E, Major Gage. He is celebrating his born day. Gonna tell you in advance, brother, we appreciate you. Grateful to know you. Glad that you're part of our brotherhood. We hope that everything good to you happens in this new, untried year of life. We hope that you're well taken care of. And make sure you don't party too hard. I told you about the blow and the South Beach action. Ease them off that a little bit, man. But all the best to you, brother.
Yeah.
We'll party and we'll go ahead and get the feedback from the play-by-play the week after next. But Ant, you got something to say in closing?
Yeah, I wanted to say definitely be safe, my brother. Go out there and have as much fun as you can. Enjoy yourself with your wife. If you guys do have some downtime, check out this TV series called Forever on Netflix. It's produced. There's an episode produced by Regina King. Shout out to that sister. Okay. Also, there's a couple of episodes in there produced by the dude who produced Red Tails. I love the series.
Okay.
I saw that. I saw the ads for it on Netflix when they were talking about it. I saw when it dropped. And immediately when I saw the trailer, I'm like, you know what? This looks like it might actually be good. I added to my list ASAP. So I meant to ask y'all about your feedback if you've seen it yet.
I think my wife is watching that, and she said that I wouldn't like it because it's too girly. I'm gonna check. That might not be the one, but I think my wife is watching that.
I don't know. I was talking to my peoples, and I was telling them that I feel like it's a extended series, like a Love and Basketball type of extended series. Like it's kind of weird. It's teenage love. But I love the scenery. I loved how they have the Black family as being a upper Black family, not no regular, we went through the hood and, it had representation of modern Black families that are in
poverty porn.
Now, here's my question about that, though, because every now and then we get one of those type of shows. But see, here's the twist. What they'll do is the family will be well-to-do. They don't have any poverty problems, but their behavior fits that. So economically they're up here, but as far as their character and conduct behavior, they right down here with all the rest of the peons.
Well,
so
Anderson, he likes it.
I think Regina King didn't push that. I think she did a good job at trying not to narrate it that way.
Okay. I wouldn't expect it to, but you never know.
And it had great music. I mean, it's not the music that we would put in our stuff, but it's like modern music. But it would be music that you would tell your children to listen to versus the bullshit garbage that's out there. You guys got to see it for yourself. Maybe you guys might not like it. I loved it.
If it's wholesome Black stuff, I'm 10 toes in.
You already know. I'm gonna check it out just because you said it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna check it out. Hey, y'all, I want y'all to check out y'all and the people who are watching. I want y'all to check out that video I posted in the chat. The truth is that shit is heavy. So yeah. All right, we ready?
But he's Major Gage, the birthday boy.
Yeah.
That's Anthony Malcolm, the genius.
Yeah.
I'm Bobby Drake, and I'm with the shits. We'll catch y'all week after next. Manifestations 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If black people knew their glorious past, if black people knew their glorious past, if black people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear families.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage, we are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.